Today I'm going to show you how I painted this little guy in the Alla Prima technique using oil paints, palette knives and a few brushes. So I'm working on a 10 by 10 inch MDF wood panel and just starting out by creating a quick sketch of the bird using a oil based polychromos coloured pencil. I just prefer sketching with pencils really as opposed to paint brushes. Now I usually transfer the image using tracing paper or whatever, or not a projector. I don't have a projector, but if I had a projector I would just project it on the image. But I just decided to give it a little sketch today, free hands. Um, so the reference photo is here, and it's given to me from Despina. Thank you very much, Despina, an aspiring photographer. Absolutely love this shot. However, I'm going to be changing up the backgrounds shortly. So yeah, kingfisher today. I haven't painted a kingfisher. Well, I've only painted one kingfisher. That was about 5 years ago. But never painted a kingfisher with oil paints. Now, I thought I'd do something new today. I'm going to be obviously continuing working on landscapes, impressionistic landscapes, seascapes, skyscapes. But I'm going to throw in a few animals here and there. I've got the camera right in front of me, and to try and get the proportions correct was difficult. I didn't get them all correct, but it's fine. It's just a little sketch for the tutorial, and I'm okay with not getting the proportions totally accurate to the reference photo. Um, Same thing. I mean, the reference photo is just there as a guide, just to hold my hand. I'm going to be changing up the colors slightly. Colors in this reference photo are very vibrant, and I didn't get the vibrancy I wanted in the in this actual painting. So excuse my voice today. I've been sick for the last 5 days. Nothing serious, just a bit of a cold, but been coughing for the last 5 days, day and night. So let's begin. I'll try and get through this video. So we got ultramarine blue and burnt sienna mixed together to create a black. That's how I like to make my blacks, and I always sort of start with the eyes when it comes to animals. So I've got a really small brush here, and I'm forced to use smaller brushes in some parts of this painting. My other colours today are titanium white, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, cerulean blue, and ultramarine blue, and burnt sienna. And I've got gambling solvent-free gel as my medium. Now, I had a little play around a little bit with this medium and used a little bit more in some areas just to play with some sort of paint flow. Not using too much still, but just a little bit more than I would have usually used. Just experimenting really. I'll sort of mention that a little bit throughout the video. So again, I got this cheap flat brush. Just begin by making a sort of purpley blue color for the beak. So this is a freestyle voiceover, no script, just going to be here talking with you, hanging out today and just talking a little bit about my process. Hope it helps, hope it gives you some value. Never actually spoken about painting a bird before, so it's been interesting. So same mix there, and just going to be adding a slightly lighter tone along the beak there. So overall, this took about 35 minutes to paint, and I'm trying to stick with the same rules as I would when I'm painting skyscape, seascape. I'm going to go for that abstract, impressionistic kind of mix with a touch of realism, and I'm trying to lay down paints and trying to leave it and not move it around too much. I certainly don't want to overwork the painting. It took about 40 minutes to paint. So I'm just going to mix up a blue now with the two blues I've got there and a touch of yellow because I want this sort of to be a dark mix here. So again, general rule of thumb, I work dark to light, but I will be modifying some areas later on. So if I want to go a bit darker in some areas, I will. And but yeah, trying to play with brush work, hard edges, soft edges, tonal range, all in check. And to be honest, my favourite part was the backgrounds. As you can see, there's quite a lot of medium in that paint, and Um, I'm going to be working, I guess, over the top of this part. So it's thin paint to thick paint. But I'm trying to keep it loose as well. This is a number two brush, or could be a four. I used two, four, and six. Could be a four actually. From Rosemary and Co. They're ivory flats. I'll leave a link in the description below and get your hands on some of those. I use them for all my paintings, and I'm just finding my feet a little bit. So as I said, this is a 10 by 10 inch MDF wood panel, so the kingfisher there is fairly small. That's why I had more fun with the background. I like painting bigger, really, when it comes to abstract impressionism, and you're going to see all that good stuff later on. But yeah, still finding my feet a little bit. It does take me a while sometimes to see what's going on. And to be honest, for like the first, well, in about 10 minutes' time, I wanted to get rid of the painting and like create a landscape. And I'm glad I didn't, because I'm really happy with how my little friend turned out today. But there was a moment when I thought, this isn't working out. I've got to go back. I need to paint a landscape. I miss it, and I'm so glad I didn't. So look, the paint's a little bit thicker here. I'm using water mixed sport oil paints as well. So I only used a few brushes in this painting session. So I've cleaned out the brushes in between paint applications and with water, and I'll be drying them very well. But yeah, relying a little bit on medium here, thin paints. I'm just trying to work out what's going on, really. As I said, I'm not going to be focusing on so much detail, moving things around and overworking it. I think I did well not to overwork it. Just getting a general kind of a spontaneous bird, really, in the time that I had. So yeah, so I'm going to go for a bit more vibrancy now. With that cerulean blue, I find it's more vibrant than the ultramarine blue. So same brush. I just, as I said, you didn't see that, but I kind of cleaned the brush, rinsed the brush with water in water, and dried it thoroughly. And I'm back now. Really, it's just an easy cleanup with the water mixed sport oil paints, because I don't use mineral spirits or anything like that. I like traditional oil paints. And I also like water mixed oil, but there's not really much difference between them, except that water mixed oil paints are just an easier cleanup. So again, trying to play with not over blending, just laying in the colours really. I guess you'd call it blocking in, and I'll be kind of blending a little bit later and adding the palette knife, but still finding my way. This is really small for me to paint. Not used to sort of small paintings. It's been a while. I had a blast. I really enjoyed this, and after about 10 minutes or so, I was thinking, oh god. No, I got into it, especially when I added in the background and got the palette knife out and started breaking up edges and kind of distorting the bird. I just had so much fun with that. So again, it's the same surface that I've used in previous tutorials, MDF wood panel, and I've coated it with Michael Harding's non-absorbent acrylic primer. You can see the link in the description. It's called the supplies link. Michael Harding's non-absorbent acrylic primer. It's amazing stuff. Highly recommend it. So I'm going for a little bit more vibrancy now with the blue, and yeah, I think this paint is a little bit thicker, so it would sort of sit more on top and be a bit more dominant in certain areas. And just begin by sort of placing paint down, really. I don't know if painting a kingfisher was the best move this weekend, because I'm not feeling very well, and I remember being a kid and I could never sort of draw or paint when I was a kid when I was sick. And I used to draw and paint all the time. Well, I used to draw all the time when I was a kid, but I could never do it when I was sick. I just never thought I could create something that I was happy with. Really weird. Um, but okay, I'm not. It's only a cold. I mean, my voice is a bit husky. Um, just a bit of a cold, nothing serious, thank goodness. But okay, so same mix. I'm just gonna lighten it up slightly with titanium white and thick paint here because I won't be making too many changes on top of this. It can be really hard not to get carried away with oil paints. Like, I mean, you can do so much. It's so forgiving, but you got to be careful. You don't want to overwork your paintings. Well, you can if you want, but I think it's just the road to misery. Um, so I want to keep things simple. Um, the real fun comes with a palette knife later on, and adding the background in and playing with edges. I absolutely love playing with edges and darkening areas, going back into lighting areas. You'll see it all. This is um, this is a full tutorial from start to finish. Nothing's cut out. It's just me rambling on about it really and geeking out about oil paints. So yeah, it was probably about here I was thinking, what am I doing? This is insane. Like, I need to go back to my landscapes, and I certainly will be um, going back to landscapes and seascapes. But as I said, I want to put in an animal to every now and then, and perhaps some figurative paintings as well, portraits. All in this loose style, I want to I want to finish all my paintings in one go and then move on. I don't want to overwork things and get carried away in too much detail. I just want to say what I want to say, get in and out without rushing it, obviously, but really sort of being in the moment. Um, I think it's beautiful when you can see brush strokes and having parts that are really spontaneous, um, and really finding the expression and abstraction of subjects. You're going to see everything, and it was so much fun. So I'm going for a really dark mix here, which is yeah, thicker because I just wiped off the excess of that medium there, and I'm going to try and just darken up the bottom left hand side. I think no, it's the head. I'm working on the head, so a dark shadow here, and it was all these different colors of greens and blues. By the way, that stick there is a homemade walking stick got off somebody here in Greece. Um, he's made like hundreds of them, so he gave that, and that just basically hooks over the um, the easel. It just stops my hand getting paint on it, and I can just sort of hone in on a little bit of detail. I used to use this a lot with all my kind of wildlife paintings and still lifes that I did in the past. So it does come in handy. Yeah, just as you can see there, look, I'm putting a brush stroke down, I'm leaving it. Again, thick paint with that medium still, and I'm just trying to leave it there for now. And that just keeps it kind of dominant and dark, and keeps the dark tones kind of there because I'm going to be playing with the background later, and I want some areas to be quite contrasty. So these brushes are really versatile, so I can really get like the direction of the feathers with these flat brushes. I don't really use these small brushes much unless I'm painting an animal for some small details, but they came in really handy. So I think I'm mixing up the part underneath his on his yeah right there. There's a very dominant part here of it was almost white by the picture, but I wanted it to warm it up a little bit more just by adding some cadmium yellow into that titanium white there. So again, it's just a case of me adding in, sort of layering in color and then kind of leaving it. I don't want to move around. I don't want to sort of adjust it too much. So I think it's quite important to focus and kind of mix up your colors as best as you can. So I'm going for an orangey color here, cadmium yellow, cadmium reds, and I think I added a touch of that burnt sienna. And I'm going to be adjusting it slightly, I think, with some more yellow. Just sort of finding my feet, really. Keeping it really simple. Okay, I added some white there. Um, Not complicated at all. Um, just basically blocking in for now. And I'm sure it was about here I was thinking I got to give up. This is crazy. This is not working out. But I saw the light, and that's the thing. Like that's happened to me a couple of times now, and I've gone like halfway through a paint, and I've gone, this is crazy. I need to give up, and then I've just continued, and I've treated it as art should be treated, with experimentation and being loose and not worrying and overthinking about anything, because this became one of my favorite animal paintings. It's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to paint an animal in under an hour. I did it in 40 minutes, and I said everything I needed to say in this piece. And it was because I continued and I didn't overthink anything, and I just went for it. So again, with the same brush there, the size 4, I believe, is clean, the brush, and I'm just playing with the different kind of values of blue and green, and trying not to touch that orange, and just blocking in really what I see. Like having the reference photo there does help from a tonal range, but the colors aren't accurate. Doesn't matter. Um, what matters is that I'm kind of creating something that appeals to me and how I want to create and how I want to paint, and just having fun really, and trying to smile with this cold that I have been suffering with, and just dancing. But look at those feathers there. I mean, these brushes really do. Um, they're so versatile, and they're great for anything: clouds, sharp edges, soft edges, feathers, buildings, trees, anything. So it's looking like a kingfisher now. Still fairly rough. I think it was about now I was thinking that I perhaps should add a background in. No, not now. So, on top of that mix is thicker paint. So I've got ultramarine blue and cadmium yellow, and I'm just again laying down some um, darker tones of blue and green in some areas, and then I'm leaving it so that will sort of sit kind of nicely, and again quite dominant. And of course, stepping back from the painting does help. You see it in a different way, so don't always sort of stay so close up to the painting. It's always important to step back and see what's going on. Now, pretty much ultramarine blue there, and just adding in again, trying to put a brush stroke down and then leave it, because I'm going to be blending some areas in shortly, um, and not blending in some areas. I think that gives it really a lot of interest. So here, blending brush, just going to be softening out some areas, wiping the blended brush on a paper towel, and softening some other areas in the same direction as the feathers are going. So I'd just like to mention that I do have Patreon, where I upload exclusive content where I don't share anywhere else online. If that's something that you would be interested in, then I'll leave a link in the description below. Go and check it out, and I hope to see you there. So check this out. small palette knife, and I just picked up all those random colours, and I'm using a lot of whites. I was going for see, that's quite nice already. You don't have to mix up all your colours. I was going to go for sort of like an olive colour, but a really like pale version of olive, and kind of came up with this colour, which is a mix of most of the colours I have on my palette there. So a bit yellowy here. I think I added some more white in a minute. Oh no, I didn't. I added some medium. So here's what I was saying about medium earlier. I used a little bit more medium in this piece, just to sort of let the paint flow a little bit. And I got my size 6 brush here. I'm going to begin by doing the backgrounds. And we want interest in the backgrounds, in my opinion. I can change up the backgrounds however I want. So that same mix, I'm just basically playing really. And this was a lot of fun because I knew, well, I didn't know. I mean, about 5 minutes ago, I was thinking about ditching the painting, and I thought, nope, I'm just going to play, see what happens. I let go, and um, I went for it. So a lot of paint here. Don't want to go too textured. Maybe in a little bit of the area in a minute, but not too textured yet. So a lot of white, but not in all of the mix. So the same mix again. I love that beige color. That's made with most of the colors that I have on the palette there, and I'm just really enjoying this part now. And I thought, okay, this is it now. A lot of paints and quite a lot of medium as well, but not too much. Okay, but more than I usually would use, just to get the paint flowing. Because I don't want too much texture, as I said. It looks quite textured now because of the light that's coming in from above. But yeah, I love this part now, and I'm just not blending everything. I want to blend some areas. It's about pressure again, and just changing up the brush strokes. Um, if you can get all those color tone, brush strokes, blended, not blended, it really does make it really does keep you it does keep your painting really interesting in my opinion. But I mean, I could have gone really wild with this with my palette knife and got all the texture in, but I just wanted to keep it quite minimal, so the bird kind of jumps out. But I love that already. I love the color that I found. I've just added in some bit of variation now, so variation is key. So a little bit of purple, so it's all kind of mixed together, but not over mixed. And I'm just mixing in a little bit, which I'm going to put. So it's like another tonal range. It could be a bit cooler as well. So if you can get cool and warm tonal mixes in your paintings, I just love it. In my opinion, it just keeps it really interesting and complementary as well. Because we got like hints of purple there, which complements to the yellow. And I want to be able to sign my pictures with a toothpick. So I want quite a lot of paint at the bottom there, and I'm going to be adding a little bit of burnt sienna in some areas, but not too much. As I said, I really like these subtle paintings where it's just where the subject says more than all the backgrounds would say. So again, palette knife here. Now here's where I'm playing with edges. Look at that. That's absolutely beautiful. I love the smoothness that fits over the top of those brush strokes. And okay, the palette knife is clean, and I'm just now adding some texture. I'll be back into that background slightly shortly, but again, here comes the highlights. And you can achieve highlights just by scratching away or adding in the light blue, and I'm doing both there. So I'm going to be scratching away a lot of this just to really kind of grab those highlights. And again, no better tool to do that than the palette knife, the small palette knife. So again, just blending now, wiping the paint. When you see the palette knife off the screen, I'm giving it a quick wipe with paper towels. I'm getting really involved now, and this is where all the fun is. It's where it all happens, in my opinion. So pretty much a lot of white there. Here, I want a really nice hard edge there. So a lot of paint, pretty much like spreading butter on toast. I want a really nice hard edge along that bottom left-hand side of the bird. And just taking a little bit of that texture out. Don't want too much texture there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it's so much fun. But it's still subtle as well. As I said, it's not like I used to love abstract backgrounds that were really busy and with a lot going on. But now I prefer it more subtle and more interesting in a subtle way, having the birds jump out at you. So look, I'm just blending in some areas there. So I want to knock back some edges. So you have a nice balance of hard edges and hard and soft edges. So a bit difficult part here. So a lot of paint there just to emphasize that bottom part. But yeah, this is where you in my opinion, you don't want to spend too long doing this because you will run into troubles. You will be like, oh, it's too much. I've overworked it. No, give yourself 10 minutes, not even that, just to really play with this background. So look, really light blue there on the edge of the palette knife. And it's also scratching away as well and leaving that light blue. We're really creating now this kind of like abstract slash realistic slash impressionistic bird. Just got my brush there and softened out that texture a little bit. And just choosing areas to soften, like it's so much like I can't even describe how much fun this is. Like this is a painting that I've created and I'm choosing what I want from it. And you can do exactly the same. Like, you can decide how you want to be as a painter. Like if you like super realistic paintings, you should do super realistic paintings. If you like abstract paintings, do it. If you like a combination of both, do it. Try it. Try everything. You won't be sorry. It's just so much fun, and don't be scared of anything. Like what I was thinking 12 minutes ago, I wanted to throw this out the window and just move on, but I'm so glad I didn't. Like it was such a thrill, a pleasure, and it's 45 minutes for a painting of a bird. It's really modern, fresh, and I believe that is interesting in a few different ways because of the techniques that I'm using. Wiping the palette knife and just really going for it. So picking up the same mix again and scratching in, getting some of that nice texture. Not worrying about anything now. Blending brush is there. Oh yeah, this is what I did. I picked up that purpley color because I wanted it in the bird a little bit, and I think I saw that in the actual reference as well. So that was an interesting um, part for me there. Here, I picked up that burnt sienna, um, mixed up a little bit into that already mix of my backgrounds. Just wanted to play a little bit. So that a lot of that medium really does sort of help blends a little bit more. And it keeps it quite subtle as well. So it's not too textured. It is a little bit, but yeah, just wanted a little bit more warmth in that mix there. But yeah, a little bit more medium. It did help um, sort of make the painting a little bit more runny. This is my medium palette knife. And again, just finger and just playing a little bit, throwing it down. My favorite part. I absolutely love this. Just got the edge of the highlight of the palette knife there, just to indicate where the kingfisher could be sitting. And just scratching in some paint away now, just to reveal some texture and blend a little bit as well. But you can see how addictive. I hope you can see how addictive this is, because you can keep going. And I just advise you, don't overwork it, because you will overwork it, and you know, don't spend too long on it, on these parts. But just really throw in some texture in the side of the palette knife. Here's my smaller palette knife now, just to um, enhance some of that light blue. And my blending finger, my finger to blend. And again, I just wanted to enhance. There you go. That's almost ultramarine blue by itself, which I saw in the reference and I liked it. And I just want to enhance some areas with that um, small flat brush, and just make it a little bit more greener now with some of that cadmium yellow. Just to enhance it, go a bit darker. A little bit of that contrast really does work well on the left of that bird against the backgrounds. A really nice sort of hard edge. A bit of contrast is nice for me. I do like it. But I really adore those broken edges. Um, just for some interest, my interpretation of a kingfisher, was such a thrill. Okay, what am I doing here? I've got my stick, and I want to just emphasize the beak a little bit along the line there. That's all. I just needed the stick there just to hold my hand up a little bit. And I think that's it's my blending brush again. Got the blue there, just to, can't go too small with the details. I just want to keep it kind of loose and just to blend it a little bit, blend a little bit of that blue. Good thing is about the blended brush is it's a soft brush, so it does work well when you're softening edges um, with the actual paint. So it doesn't just act as a blending brush. You can put paint on it, and it does help. And also, some areas of the highlights do appear to stand out when the paint is quite thick as well. Just playing a little bit here with some edges and some background. And then got a bit darker areas there. Just want to, things you can't do with a paintbrush, in my opinion. These really thin lines, with this palette knife, it's just incredible. Just identifying a few feathers, but look, you can scratch away as well and just really get those highlights. Just the amazing thing about these wood panels. Doesn't really work too well on a canvas, in my opinion, but the wood panels are fantastic for that. I just want to show a little bit of a foot there, of his little foot. A little bit of orange works well with the complementary color, which is blue. That's what makes the kingfisher an absolutely beautiful, stunning bird to look at, visually stunning because of its complementary colors. Just add a little bit of texture there. But yeah, I mean, what I got out of this was so much more. I mean, if you're struggling seriously, if you're painting and you feel like it's not working out, then stick with it and just experiment and just go for it and see what happens, because you'll be so surprised. I was so happy with how this little guy turned out, and it's 45 minutes. I got a nice little oil painting. I learned a lot, and I had such a blast, and I really had a blast with you today. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I do really appreciate your company, and I hope to see you in the next video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you've hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.